I've lived in the Poudre Canyon for 20 years. We took over in 1999. We have groceries, we have souvenirs, we have propane, we have gas, of course cabins, RV, and tent sites, full service. The Poudre Canyon is unique in Colorado because it is Colorado's nationally designated wild and scenic river. All the businesses that are here they're the only businesses that will ever be here. And if a business closes down, it can never reopen. So, I like to think I'm important for the community, but We first heard of the fire and got notice of the fire on August 13th. You could smell the smoke in the air. People were asking me. I didn't really have any information, but then I got confirmation that yes, there was a fire up at Cameron Peak. They put out the mandatory evacuation. They went door to door to all my cabins, and then there was the mass exodus. Everybody left. So it was basically just me and my mother and one set of work campers left up here. So on the 7th, which was Labor Day, was the day that it really blew up, and it was a wall of fire. I had all my immediate things loaded into the truck, what I needed to take with me, but what do? You cannot pack up an entire store. You can't pack up. At that point, I said, yeah, Mom, we need to get in the car. As I was leaving and taking the very last thing out to the truck, Larimer County Sheriff gentleman was in the parking lot saying, we have to go now, you have to go now. We have to go, it's coming. And I hollered at him because he was out of his vehicle, he was gonna help me. And I said, just shut the front door. So he shut the front door and we drove down. We only drove down like just down here. And when Mom and I were looking back at the property, we thought, it's gone. We're never gonna see it again. Once we got down the road just a little bit here, he says, you can't stay, you can't. It's like, I understand, but my neighbors across and down from us, they were still loading, and these are people I've known for, 20 years. So I'm like, I'm not leaving until, and so once we got out and driving down, we stopped about half a mile down from Rustic and pulled over at the side of the road, and we watched it. And it was huge. We sat there for about 6 hours. About halfway through there, the sheriff, Justin Smith, he stopped. They all knew I was sitting there, of course, because they could all see me sitting there alongside the road. And he stopped and gave me a fist bump, and he says, Connie, it's all still there. Wow. I couldn't believe it. And I asked them, well, can I go back? And he says, you have not left the mandatory evacuation area. You can do what you'd like. So we came back and walked property and so on. And then I had Andy with REA stop in, and he said it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks. And then we're like, okay, but I understand you don't know, and you don't want to give someone false hope, about getting their power on. And he came in asking if we were open with our cabins because they have a lot of contractors coming from Denver, from different places all over the state, and it would help if they didn't have to drive all the way down the canyon, because that's 2 hours of drive time just for the canyon. And I said, absolutely, whatever I can do to make this process go along a little bit faster, and to get my neighbors up canyon and everybody get their phone, get their electric back on, because that's essential. I've had firefighters in all of the other cabins as well as the electrical contractors. I've seen them on their first day, and then I've seen them on the day that they mob out and when they leave. And by the time they leave, they are exhausted. The day that we got the power back was, I believe it was the 13th, and Andy with REA poked his head in the door and he says, Connie, your power will be back on in 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, that was huge. I was really running out of votive candles for lighting at nighttime. And, knowing that we were going to have the lights back on and a credit card system, we were hoping that the phones would come on as soon as the power, and it did, and the power came on. That was awesome. And I look up at the canyon and it's still beautiful. It's just different now. So I do feel blessed that I got to see it before. And I'm glad that we are still here to see the after.